Okay, I'm gonna kick in your door, come into your house, put my muddy shoes on your ottoman, plop my bags down, and demand you make me dinner. Oh, by the way, here's a list of foods I like to eat, so whatever you plan for dinner has got to change. You got to give me a room in your house, too. Oh, you don't have an extra room? No problem. You know what? Just move your kids into the basement. Oh, also, some of the customs you and your family observe, they offend me, so I'm going to need you to stop that, too. Hey, also, I got some friends that do a bunch of illegal stuff. If you could just put them up, too, that would be great. Oh, you don't want that in your home? Why not? I'm here in your country illegally. I demand things, and I demand you pay for those things. Every white liberal on your street calling you a racist because you want to kick this poor, innocent person looking for a better life out of your home. They're not taking him in, but you have to. If you call the police, they won't do anything. And a judge will order you that he has to stay right there in your living room. If you call ICE, they'll come and try to put that person on a plane to El Salvador and prison down there. But another judge will turn around and say, no, that person has a right to live here, and you have to take him back in. That is literally the immigration crisis summed up right now. And while ICE is out there rounding people up and deporting them to Venezuelan areas and El Salvadorian prisons, just today, a major kingpin in the MS-13 gang, you know, the ones with drug dealers with face tattoos all over running gangs in America, he was apprehended by a joint law enforcement task force. Like, it is becoming super clear to me that how willfully inept the Biden administration was on this issue. Because in the last 2 months, we've arrested literally thousands of foreign gang members charged with anything from murder, rape, dealing drugs, breaking and entering, assault, you know, all the neighborly stuff. But they're just coming here for a better life, right? And the governor of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin, did not hold back after MS-13 got apprehended today.
And so, no, these were not lists that were available in the previous administration because they wouldn't do that. And the minute that we had partners that would do this with us, then lists of 500, 600, 700 targets could be put together in collaboration with state police and federal authorities and our Department of Corrections. Critically important, and I cannot emphasize enough the collaboration and support and leadership out of the new administration that is so different than what we saw in at least the previous 3 years of my administration.
Yeah, so different is an understatement, Governor. The lack of action by Biden over the last 4 years on this was like very apparently a matter of, you know, lack of willpower, not lack of ability. That's why it's important to send this message and that this be dealt with. You got to spike the football. That's the deterrence right there. Some of these criminals, they're going to think they're going to get rolled up for doing illegal things in a country where they're illegally in. They might not come, especially when they're going to see where they're going to get sent to, which is why DHS Secretary Kristi Noem went to the prison in El Salvador that they're shipping these people off to.
I also want everybody to know, if you come to our country illegally, this is one of the consequences you could face. First of all, do not come to our country illegally. You will be removed and you will be prosecuted. But know that this facility is one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use if you commit crimes against the American people.
Okie dokie. Finally, I mean, this is like the most notorious supermax prison in the world. They get walked around with shortened shackles, their head down, they shave it right when they get there. They're thrown in mass incarceration pens. If they eat, maybe not. If you get caught out of line, you're going to get shot or beaten. There is no feel-good counselors or no transgender rights. I guarantee you, there's a bunch of people, probably part of those gangs, that are here in America right now that are looking at this and be like, man, I better knock this off or get out of here. Which leads me to less crime, which maybe even means less illegals in the country in the first place, which means you and I are safer. It's kind of like, as far as I can see, that's the government's primary job. Keep citizens safe. That's why we pay taxes.
This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. And we're going to continue to let good cops be cops across this country.
Weird. So I guess we had the ability all along. We're just doing it now. But Biden didn't do that. That's why we're here. And you can get into all the Democrats' tactics for illegal immigration about manipulating census data and gerrymandering congressional districts by adding populations. But consider the irony here. You have a bunch of NGOs, that means non-governmental organization, that are the nonprofits, but they're getting funding from the government. So I don't know how they're non-governmental. Anyway, those organizations are taking the taxpayer dollars they get in grants and turning around and suing the same government that just gave them that money to force the government to spend more money and resources on illegal immigrants that shouldn't be here in the first place, many of which have committed like hard crimes, like I just mentioned. And those NGOs are fighting to keep them here. And then Trump comes in and he's like, hey, whoa, this is bad news. I want to defund these people. Why should we be giving them money? And then those NGOs go find a judge to say, no, Trump, you can't do that either. This is the deep state. This is why this country was not safe for 4 years under Biden. The bottom line is the Biden administration stuffed people into your proverbial living room and then criticized you about being upset about it. And then judge after judge after judge is telling Trump, hey, even though Biden unilaterally did this, you're not allowed to undo it. In fact, according to these judges, Trump is not even allowed to protect citizens from international drug cartels from taking over apartment complexes and running gangs in our cities. Like a day ago, a 3-judge panel in California just up and decided that Trump cannot deny the 40,000 refugees approved by Biden. By that logic, this 3-judge panel is saying that Trump is not equal to Joe Biden and his authority as president is different. But that's weird because we have this thing called the 14th Amendment, Section 1, which pertains to equal rights. You're not allowed to, as a judge, quote, deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws, which president to president, just saying, I'm not a lawyer, but I feel like these judges are saying that Joe Biden has more authority and more protection than Donald Trump. Judges are wrong. But, oh, fine. Okay, so, careful what you wish for, judges. If I was Trump after this ruling, I would be like, word. Here's 40,000 of these refugees right outside your front door. Oh, what's the matter? You worried about it? Why? Safety? Because they're illegal? Oh, hey, you know what? Maybe we'll just drop them off outside your kid's school, judges. Oh, you don't want that either? Why is that? Why? Oh, you're worried about it not being safe. Really? That's kind of the whole reason Trump doesn't want them anywhere in this country in the first place. Look, if you don't want these people in your living room, we probably don't want them in ours either. And if you're offended by that, I don't have to care. Most of these people came through a half a dozen other countries before they got here, so asylum laws don't apply. Send them back to any one of those. I don't care. They're not my problem, and they shouldn't be. These people don't have a right to be in my country. They don't have a right to my benefits, the ones that I pay for with my tax dollars. You don't have a right to free housing that we also pay for with our tax dollars. You do have a right to get in line and come in legally, and then we will welcome you with open arms if you bring respect. And also, what I find ironic is every single time Trump tries to spend money on anything, he gets stopped by some judge who says, hey, hold up, Trump. You don't have the authority to spend any money on this. And sometimes it's not even spending money. Sometimes it's like saving money. They say, these judges always say, well, you can't, that's Congress's job to stop spending or start spending any, buying a paperclip. But these 3 judges on this panel just mandated that we spend taxpayer dollars to house, fund, and give any number of benefits to 40,000 people who shouldn't even be here in the first place. Congress was involved in that. How do they have the power? So, which one is it? There should not be 2 sides of this argument, folks. Why were there 156 Democrats in Congress that voted against the Laken-Riley Act that was protecting children from people who shouldn't be here? Why are cities like New York committing billions of dollars they don't have to people who will never contribute back the same amount to society? But here we are.
He loves the Constitution. He fights for what's right. He hates the bad guys. He's a freedom warrior. He's your freedom warrior. Watch Carl Higbie every weekday on Newsmax.